Guys, today's like goal is 5,000 likes. Make sure to like the video and comment Red Apple in the comment section to support the channel. So let's start the episode. This isn't your typical apocalypse story. The dungeon arrived. People started getting powers and all that bullshit. But there was a twist. The monsters are so damn strong that humans can't even touch them. The whole world is getting destroyed. But guess what? Seo Jun has a safe house with unlimited fucking resources and a barrier where no one can enter his building. And then, out of nowhere, Seo Jun saw something coming straight toward him. In seconds, the enormous beast slams into the window, stopping just outside. That creature, it was hideous. It had a humongous, disgusting, slimy, tentacle-like mouth. When it opened its mouth, 3 more mouths emerged, each lined with rows of sharp, glinting teeth. The sight was beyond disgusting. Seo Jun thought the creature was about to devour him. With a sickening thud, the monster's body slammed into the window. Seo Jun shrieked and stumbled backward, falling hard onto the floor. His heart raced. He was terrified. But then, something strange happened. The monster couldn't enter. It tried again and again to break through the invisible barrier of the apartment. Seo Jun slowly opened his eyes, his breathing still heavy with fear. A system notification popped up before him. A subject not permitted to enter has attempted to breach the room. Entry has been prevented by the system. Seo Jun stared at the notification, his fear gradually turning into confusion. What was this system? Why couldn't the monster enter? Slowly, realization dawned on Seo Jun. Whatever this system was, it was protecting him. After that, a blue-colored barrier formed in front of Seo Jun's window. Seo Jun tried to open the door to his house but found it completely stuck. Frustrated, he kicked the door in anger. After half an hour of struggling, the door still wouldn't budge. Exhausted, Seo Jun slowly approached his window and stared out, his face filled with frustration. He narrated that this was the 3rd day of the apocalypse. And while this damned ability had kept him safe, it had also trapped him completely in his house. The dark truth about Seo Jun's ability began to sink in. Sitting in the darkness of his room, Seo Jun observed the world outside falling apart. 3 days into the apocalypse, there was no light in his room. He was completely engulfed in darkness. His food supply was running dangerously low, and within a day or two, he would have nothing left. The realization that all the doors in his house were locked only added to Seo Jun's misery. He was forced to use plastic bags for his basic needs. The ultimate shut-in-house ability, while protecting him from external threats, had effectively trapped him inside his own home. Seo Jun shouted in frustration, "Because of this weird-ass ability, I'm stuck in here. I can't do anything. Maybe I'll starve to death in this house alone." Holding his head in his hands, Seo Jun muttered that while he was safe, the real problem was food. His supplies were almost gone. The power to his fridge had been cut, and his remaining food was starting to spoil. All he had left were a few packets of ramen. Desperation gripped Seo Jun as he chewed on his fingers, completely lost on what to do next. Then, out of nowhere, the system notified that Seo Jun had hunted a level 23 Calican. He had gained a great amount of experience points, and his skills had leveled up. Seo Jun sat in complete shock. His eyes widened as he thought, "How did I hunt something? I haven't even left this room." He stared at the system notification, confused and trying to make sense of what had just happened. Then something clicked. Seo Jun sprang to his feet, rushed to the balcony, and looked down. His eyes widened in shock. The lifeless body of the huge, weird creature that had crashed into his window earlier lay on the ground. Its massive body was surrounded by armed goblins. Seo Jun thought, did I somehow hunt that thing just because it crashed into my window? As Seo Jun pieced things together, the system notified that Seo Jun had obtained a new skill. A nearby loot had met the requirement, and the system was calculating the loot. Before Seo Jun could fully process this, the goblins below began acting strangely. They became aggressive, letting out loud, piercing screams toward the sky. Seo Jun stared down in complete confusion, unable to understand what was happening. All of a sudden, the behavior of all the goblins changes. On one hand, the goblins are still screaming in a weird way. Many goblins are clutching their heads in agony, while others are ferociously tearing apart the huge flying beast with their nails. Then, the system notifies Seo Jun that the loot calculation is complete. Seo Jun has gained 2.2 million won, an amount equivalent to 1,500 USD. The system confirms that 2.2 million won has been deposited into Seo Jun's ultimate shut-in wallet. Seo Jun is stunned to see such a large amount of money at once, but his surprise doesn't end there. Suddenly, the lights in Seo-jun's room turn on. Seo-jun realizes that not just the lights, but all the fans and electricity in his house are now working. The system notifies Seo-jun once again. His ultimate shut-in system has been upgraded, activating a new passive skill called House Declaration Level 3. Seo-jun is absolutely shocked, but as the realization of restored electricity sinks in, Seo-jun's shock turns to happiness. He clenches his fists tightly and rushes to the fridge. Excitedly, Seo-jun opens the door of the fridge and sees that it is working properly again. Not stopping there, Seo-jun goes to his room, turns on the water tap, and sees that water is flowing again. Testing further, Seo-jun switches on his induction cooktop, and it too turns on. Overwhelmed with joy, Seo-jun collapses to the floor. Tears stream down his face as he whispers, "Everything is working again, just like before." He had truly thought he would die alone in this room without electricity or water, but now it seemed that fate had given him a chance. After calming down, an idea strikes Seo-jun. He slowly glances at his phone, hopeful. Could the internet have come back too? But his hope is quickly crushed when he realizes that his phone still shows no internet. Seo-jun grabs his head in despair. He sits on the floor, sad and defeated. After a while, Seo-jun's hand accidentally hits something. Looking down, he notices a pen drive lying next to the garbage bin. Curiously, Seo-jun quickly picks it up and inserts it into his computer. The pen drive contains old photos of Seo-jun. As the pictures flash on the screen, Seo-jun sees his mother feeding him when he was a baby. Another photo shows a younger Seo-jun ready for kindergarten, holding his mother's hand as she walks him to school. The slideshow continues, showing a teenage Seo-jun smiling with his happy parents. Finally, a photo appears of Seo-jun at age 20, standing proudly with his mom and dad, both beaming with joy. Seeing these family photos fills Seo-jun with irritation. His anger builds as he grits his teeth hard. With a deadly serious look in his eyes, Seo-jun mutters, "I need to bring my family into this safe house. No matter what, I will get out of this room and save them." This becomes Seo-jun's goal. He stands up with renewed determination and walks back to his balcony. As he approaches, he thinks about how he can escape his house. Seo-jun decides to check all his abilities, hoping for a clue to break free. While examining his skills, Seo-jun notices something new: the Ultimate Shut-In Store, Level 1. The system explains that from this store, Seo-jun can buy any items he lists, and they will be available at their original market price. Seo-jun is puzzled. He doesn't fully understand how the store works or how to use it. The store then notifies Seo-jun to list an item as his first purchase. Seo-jun's total balance of 2.2 million won is displayed, and the system asks him, will Seo-jun list his first item? In front of Seo-jun's eyes, the same system notification remains, blinking persistently. It reads, "Buy items listed in the store at their original price." Seo-jun stares at it, confused, wondering what is a store and what type of items it can even have. Despite his confusion, Seo-jun decides to click on the list icon. As soon as his finger touches it, two more notifications appear before him. The first notification reveals that Seo-jun's ultimate shut-in wallet is a max-level wallet, currently holding 2.2 million won. The system asks if Seo-jun would like to list his first item. After staring at the notification for a moment, Seo-jun realizes that the money he earned from the flying beast is now safely stored in this wallet. He lets out a sigh and reflects on the situation. Still deep in thought, Seo-jun walks over to his window. Slowly, he opens it and steps onto his balcony, thinking, maybe this is his chance to finally leave the room. But just as hope flickers in his mind, the system interrupts with another notification. The ultimate shut-in cannot leave the house. Seo-jun feels a wave of disappointment wash over him. He had hoped that leveling up might grant him freedom from the barrier, but his hopes are crushed. His hands tighten into fists as he faces the harsh reality. However, a new determination begins to build within Seo-jun. He clenches his fists tightly and resolves that if he keeps killing monsters and leveling up, he might unlock a skill that allows him to leave this room in the future. Seo-jun begins to think that if he continues to level up, he might eventually gain the power to escape. But another question lingers. If Seo-jun cannot leave his room, how can he kill monsters? He starts pacing back and forth, realizing that the flying beast hitting his window was a 1 in a million chance. A rare occurrence that's unlikely to happen again. Seo-jun decides he must find a way to kill monsters while staying in his room. After spending 5-10 minutes thinking, Seo-jun notices something unusual. Down below, the goblins are busy taking chunks of meat from the flying beast. Seo-jun studies them closely and observes that they don't seem very powerful. He wonders if it might be possible to kill them. Without wasting time, Seo-jun rushes back into his room. He grabs a water bottle, holds it tightly in his hand, and stretches his arm behind him. With all his strength, Seo-jun hurls the water bottle off the balcony. The bottle whooshes through the air and lands far beyond the balcony. Seo-jun's eyes begin to sparkle as he realizes something critical. He cannot leave his room, but whatever he throws outside can cross the barrier freely. This discovery excites Seo-jun. His plan forms quickly. He will throw heavy objects at the goblins from his room, using their weight to crush them and earn experience points. Seo-jun starts searching his house for anything heavy enough to use as a weapon. After scouring every corner, he finds a 5-kilogram dumbbell. It was a purchase he made long ago to build his body, but it had gone unused. Holding the dumbbell, Seo-jun smiles, feeling its weight in his hands. But as he steps onto the balcony and looks down, his smile vanishes. The goblins, now carrying large chunks of the flying beast's meat, are starting to leave the area around his house. Seo-jun feels panic rising. If the goblins leave, how will Seo-jun kill monsters to level up? Without hesitation, Seo-jun stretches his arms, gripping the dumbbell tightly. With all his might, Seo-jun hurls the dumbbell toward the goblins. The dumbbell soars through the air, passing effortlessly through the barrier. Seo-jun watches anxiously as it descends toward the goblins. But to Seo-jun's disappointment, the dumbbell lands on the flying beast's meat, instead of hitting any of the goblins. The sound of the impact sends the goblins into a frenzy. They scream and look around, trying to figure out what just happened. Seo-jun feels frustration boiling inside him. His face turns red with anger as he realizes he has messed up. Seo-jun only has one dumbbell left, and now the chances of leveling up seem slimmer. Seo-jun stands frozen, holding the remaining dumbbell tightly. His thoughts spiral. What if he misses again? If the second dumbbell doesn't hit, he won't have any weapons left to defend himself. Seo-jun's grip tightens, and his eyes narrow with determination, knowing he cannot afford another mistake. Seo-jun stands frozen in one spot for a long time, his mind racing. No matter how much Seo-jun searches his house, there's no weapon heavy enough to handle all the goblins. TVs, computers, even the fridge. Seo-jun just isn't strong enough to throw them. Suddenly, a loud noise startles him. The screams of goblins echo from outside, crazy and chaotic. Seo-jun's heart skips a beat as he rushes to his balcony and looks down. To his shock, Seo-jun sees hundreds of goblins gathered in front of his building. At the center of them all stands their leader, a goblin with hair shaped like a chicken's beak, and in his hand, Seo-jun's dumbbell. The leader, who has dangerous-looking six-pack abs, points at Seo-jun with a menacing glare. He starts yelling in his strange language, clearly abusing Seo-jun. Behind him, all the other goblins join in, screaming and throwing gestures at Seo-jun. Seo-jun takes a step back, his body tense. Even though Seo-jun knows the goblins can't enter his house, the sight of hundreds of them standing in front of his building, all screaming at him, sends chills down his spine. Then, in the blink of an eye, all the goblins charge towards Seo-jun's building, weapons raised and screaming like maniacs. But instead of panicking, Seo-jun's expression changes. A thought crosses his mind. This isn't a scary situation. In fact, this might be a good thing. The goblins were leaving his area before, but now more goblins are gathering near his building. The only problem? Seo-jun needs to find items to throw at them fast. As Seo-jun racks his brain, an idea suddenly clicks in his head. Seo-jun immediately opens his system notification and activates the ultimate shut-in store. Without hesitation, Seo-jun clicks on the list item icon. The system asks Seo-jun if he wants to list his first item. Seo-jun hesitates for a moment, unsure if this is a good idea or not. Slowly, he picks up his last remaining dumbbell and considers what to do. Seo-jun knows that throwing this single dumbbell might not kill many goblins. Worse, if Seo-jun's accuracy fails, he might miss completely. But something inside Seo-jun tells him this store might be the key to solving his problems. Seo-jun doesn't delay. With a single command, he places the dumbbell into the ultimate shut-in store. Suddenly, a holographic light flashes over Seo-jun's hand, scanning the dumbbell. For a moment, Seo-jun panics, thinking the system will take the dumbbell away. But when the light fades, Seo-jun realizes he's still holding the dumbbell. The system only took a scan of it. The system notifies Seo-jun that his classic non-slip 3 kilograms dumbbell has been successfully listed in the ultimate shut-in store. Seo-jun checks the store and sees the dumbbell listed there. The price? 16,991. Seo-jun is stunned. It's the exact same price Seo-jun paid for it in the market. This means that anything Seo-jun lists in the store can be purchased at the same price as the original market value. This discovery is revolutionary. It changes everything. Now, as long as Seo-jun has enough money, he can buy unlimited items. To test this, Seo-jun commands the system to create 2 more dumbbells. The moment Seo-jun confirms, a white light shines from the store. Right before Seo-jun's eyes, 2 new dumbbells are created, forming in the air like they're being 3D printed. Seo-jun's face lights up with excitement. His eyes sparkle as he realizes he doesn't have to worry about running out of dumbbells anymore. Without wasting another second, Seo-jun carefully aims and, with a whoosh, throws a dumbbell toward the goblins. This time, things are different. The goblins are standing much closer to Seo-jun's building, all grouped together in one spot. As the dumbbell descends, it lands directly on the head of one goblin. Crack! The goblin's head bursts open, blood splattering everywhere. The goblin collapses to the ground, dead on the spot. Almost immediately, the system notifies Seo-jun that he has successfully hunted a level 7 goblin. Seo-jun has gained 3,345 won, which has been deposited directly into his ultimate shut-in wallet. Seo-jun's heart races with excitement. His plan is working, and now leveling up seems more possible than ever. Seo-jun realizes that the cost of 1 dumbbell is 16,991, but he only earns 3,001 per goblin kill. This is a terrible deal, Seo-jun thinks. It's a massive loss to use dumbbells for killing goblins. But despite this, Seo-jun feels a sense of happiness. He managed to kill a goblin without leaving the safety of his house. Meanwhile, outside, the goblins are stunned. They can't figure out how their comrade suddenly died. They look around in confusion, wondering what came flying from afar. The goblins all gather around the corpse, staring at it. As the realization hits them that their comrade is dead, the goblins become enraged. They scream and glare up toward the sky. Some even begin hurling abuses in their strange language, their anger directed at Seo-jun's balcony. But suddenly, another dumbbell comes flying toward the goblins with a loud bang. This time, however, the goblins are ready. They dodge the attack effortlessly. The goblins are clearly unimpressed by the dumbbell, their disdain evident in their reactions. Seeing this, Seo-jun gets pissed. Annoyed but determined, Seo-jun buys more 3-kilogram dumbbells from his ultimate shut-in store. Seo-jun knows he's taking a loss, spending 16,001 per dumbbell with no guarantee of hitting a goblin. Even when a dumbbell does hit its target, the payout is only 3,001, a mere fraction of the cost. But money isn't Seo-jun's goal. Leveling up is all that matters to him right now. Seo-jun considers listing larger items like TVs or fridges in his ultimate shut-in store, but the thought quickly fades. Those items are not only expensive, but they're also too big and slow. The goblins would easily dodge them. Seo-jun drops the idea. Instead, Seo-jun buys more dumbbells. Armed with a stockpile of these weights, Seo-jun begins throwing them in bulk. One by one, the dumbbells start striking goblins on their heads, killing them instantly. The system floods Seo-jun with notifications of Seo-jun killing level 7, 8, and level 10 goblins. With each kill, Seo-jun earns 2,001, 3,001, and 4,001, but just as Seo-jun planned, his focus isn't on the money. After killing 4 to 5 goblins, Seo-jun levels up. The system notifies him that his level has increased and grants him a new skill. Seeing this, Seo-jun's heart races with excitement. This is exactly what he was aiming for. The system informs Seo-jun that he has acquired the ultimate shut-in storage system, level 1. This alternate dimension allows Seo-jun to store and retrieve items at will. Seo-jun activates his new skill. In front of him, a holographic, house-like interface appears. Curious, Seo-jun tries to store his dumbbells in the storage system. The system prompts Seo-jun to confirm his action. When he agrees, a bright light flashes over Seo-jun's hands. One by one, the dumbbells vanish into the system. Seo-jun checks his ultimate shut-in storage system and confirms that all his dumbbells are safely stored there. Whenever Seo-jun needs them, he can summon the items instantly from this alternate dimension. Seo-jun's eyes begin to sparkle with excitement. He gives a command to summon the dumbbells, and they materialize in his hands. With a growing grin, Seo-jun realizes he can summon items wherever he wants, at any location, at any time. Holding the dumbbells, Seo-jun's grin transforms into an evil, psychopathic smile. His mind is already formulating a devious plan, Time passes, and soon, an intense blue light glows from Seo-jun's room. Seo-jun has purchased hundreds of dumbbells and stored them in his ultimate shut-in storage system. Standing on his balcony, Seo-jun stretches out his hand. He closes his eyes and imagines all the dumbbells stored in his system. With a single command, Seo-jun summons them. Like a torrential rain, hundreds of dumbbells fall from the sky, crashing down toward the goblins below. The goblins are overwhelmed, unable to dodge the onslaught of weights falling all at once. One by one, the goblins are crushed. Blood splatters everywhere as the dumbbells strike with deadly precision. The system continuously notifies Seo-jun of his kills and earnings. After 3 to 4 minutes, the massacre ends. All the goblins lie dead, and the system announces that Seo-jun has earned 56,661, deposited into his ultimate shut-in wallet. The system asks if Seo-jun wants to list more items in his ultimate shut-in store. Seeing this, Seo-jun's eyes gleam with renewed excitement. Seo-jun realizes that his new storage ability changes everything. With this skill, Seo-jun can endlessly throw items, summon them back, and throw them again. It's no longer just a fight, it's a win-win situation. After that, we are shown that Seo-jun has listed many items in his ultimate shut-in store. Items like classic non-slip dumbbells priced at 16,991 won, ramen, samdaju water, rice, special eggs, easy-to-digest milk, yogurt, canola oil, and even half-used tomato ketchup. All these prices were listed, and Seo-jun had 2.1 million won left in his account. Seo-jun should have saved far less money than this, but after killing all the goblins, Seo-jun sold the remaining dumbbells. By selling them, Seo-jun earned a 90% return, putting him back in profit, despite spending Rs. 1,001 to kill each goblin, Seo-jun still managed to gain 2,001 won in profit per goblin. Now, since Seo-jun has listed all the groceries in his home, Seo-jun essentially has unlimited resources. However, Seo-jun soon notices something odd. His money starts decreasing, one at a time. Seo-jun initially had 2.1 million won, 78,806, but now it's 2.1 million won, 78,805. Every minute, another one vanishes. Equal sign. Seo-jun becomes confused. Why is his money decreasing? Seo-jun thinks for a while, analyzing all the possibilities. He realizes it's not because of the dumbbells, and it's not related to listing the items in the store. Otherwise, those amounts would have been deducted earlier. Finally, Seo-jun comes to a conclusion. It must be due to his dignity preservation skill. This passive skill ensures that Seo-jun's house has electricity, water, and other facilities. To keep these running, the system must be deducting money from Seo-jun's ultimate shut-in wallet. Seo-jun turns to look at his fridge and thinks that the electricity powering it must be draining his funds. Thinking about this, Seo-jun feels a bit irritated. He has plenty of money now, but this ongoing expense means he'll need a steady source of income. After throwing all the dumbbells at the goblins earlier, almost all of them were killed. But the heavy rain of dumbbells had frightened the remaining goblins away. The goblins nearby had fled, and those further away weren't coming close to Seo-jun's house anymore. 3 to 4 hours pass, and in that time, Seo-jun manages to kill only 1 or 2 goblins. When Seo-jun looks outside again, there isn't a single goblin in sight. Seo-jun starts feeling frustrated. If goblins don't come to his house, how will Seo-jun level up? If Seo-jun can't kill goblins, then he won't be able to progress. And if Seo-jun doesn't level up, he'll never gain the ability to leave his house. Seo-jun gets even more irritated as he thinks about his situation. How can he hunt goblins if they stop approaching? Just as this thought settles in, Seo-jun glances down from his balcony and notices something. The huge, slimy, crow-like flying beast. Its head remains intact, though the goblins had harvested most of its other parts earlier. Seeing this, Seo-jun pauses and thinks, there are no goblins down there now, but he needs a new technique, something that will allow him to level up and progress further. Seo-jun looks out from his balcony, his mind racing with ideas. He wonders if he'll ever get lucky enough again for a flying beast to crash into his barrier and die like before. But suddenly, Seo-jun's eyes go wide. The huge, slimy, crow-like flying beast begins moving again, slowly drifting towards Seo-jun's building. As it gets closer, we are shown a close-up of the creature. And damn! It looks even more disgusting and dangerous than before. The beast opens its mouth, revealing a mass of tentacle-like teeth. Out of its mouth emerged 3 writhing tentacles, each twisting and turning endlessly. Where do these tentacles even end? The flying beast doesn't appear to be attacking. It seems to be merely passing by Seo-jun's building. But the sight of it still leaves Seo-jun shocked. Without wasting another second, Seo-jun runs back into his house. An idea has hit him, a brilliant one. Seo-jun thanks God, muttering that luck hasn't abandoned him yet. Seo-jun remembers that this flying beast resembles a crow, and crows are known to be attracted to reflective objects. Seo-jun decides to use this to his advantage. Seo-jun rushes around his house, finding a ladder and tying a small mirror to it. He secures the mirror tightly, ensuring it stays in place. With the ladder in hand, Seo-jun returns to his balcony and begins lowering it carefully, positioning the reflective surface where the flying beast can see it. Since crows are attracted to reflective objects, Seo-jun's plan banks on the idea that the crow-type beast will be drawn toward him. And it works! As soon as the crow-type beast catches sight of the mirror, all its attention fixates on Seo-jun. The beast immediately turns toward him, lets out a disgusting roar, opens its gaping mouth, and flies straight towards Seo-jun. Seeing this, Seo-jun smiles. His plan worked, but that smile doesn't last long. Seo-jun is quickly disappointed. He had hoped that, like a dumb crow, the beast would fly into his barrier and kill itself on impact. But this crow, it was smarter. The beast stops just short of Seo-jun's window. It doesn't crash. Instead, it hovers, glaring at Seo-jun through the barrier. Then, to Seo-jun's shock, the beast starts speaking in its own language. The crow-type beast looks hungry. It sizes Seo-jun up, clearly thinking about devouring him. But now Seo-jun has a new problem. If the beast doesn't kill itself on the barrier, how will Seo-jun defeat it? Before Seo-jun can react, the crow-type beast begins flapping its massive wings. A strong gust of wind rushes towards Seo-jun, creating immense pressure. Seo-jun gathers all his strength and stands firm, refusing to be pushed back. The wind is so strong Seo-jun can barely keep his eyes open. As the gust settles, a fog forms momentarily, and when it clears, the beast is gone. Seo-jun's heart pounds. He is scared. Did the flying beast leave? Cautiously, Seo-jun steps onto his balcony to look outside. He peers over the edge, scanning for any sign of the creature. Then, with a sinking feeling, Seo-jun realizes the truth. The crow-type beast is still there, perched just above Seo-jun's balcony. The beast waits patiently, watching and lurking. The moment Seo-jun steps out far enough, it plans to strike. The beast opens its grotesque mouth, saliva dripping as it inches closer to devouring Seo-jun. Seo-jun feels a wave of fear wash over him. Sure, the barrier will protect him, but the sight of such a disgusting creature up close would terrify anyone. The beast lifts its head and slams it against the barrier, attempting to reach Seo-jun. The system immediately notifies Seo-jun. An unauthorized entity is attempting to enter. The barrier has stopped the unauthorized entity from breaching. But the crow-type beast does not give up. It slams into the barrier again and again, each attempt more ferocious than the last. Seo-jun, though still scared, knows the barrier is strong and will hold. But the thought of what if it breaks sends chills through him. What if this dangerous beast somehow manages to breach the barrier? Deciding not to waste any more time, Seo-jun opens his ultimate shut-in store. He recalls how his loot calculation skill works. It will only activate if the monster killed by Seo-jun dies inside the barrier. If a creature's corpse ends up outside the barrier, the loot calculation skill won't activate. Seo-jun reflects on his previous battles. Many of the goblins he killed had fallen outside the barrier, and he lost out on their loot. Even goblins that were dragged away before fully dying had cost Seo-jun valuable rewards. For the loot calculation to work, the crow beast must die inside the barrier, and not just that, it needs to stay inside for a while for the loot to register. This means Seo-jun can't afford any mistakes. He can't risk just injuring the crow beast. Throwing a TV, fridge, or even multiple dumbbells at once could injure the beast, but it might survive and flee. Seo-jun understands that if the beast escapes, he'll lose the chance to loot it entirely. And if the beast retaliates, it could cause even more chaos. Seo-jun realizes that throwing household items, whether it's a TV, fridge, or dumbbell, is not an option. He will need a precise, well-executed plan to kill the crow-type beast in one clean strike. Seo-jun gets very irritated. The crow beast is still attacking the barrier again and again without stopping. Time is ticking. Seo-jun needs to come up with a new idea and fast! At the same time, Seo-jun's eyes glance at the list of items in his ultimate shut-in store. One of the listed items, canola oil, catches his attention. With a click, an idea sparks in Seo-jun's mind. Seo-jun quickly purchases 20 bottles of canola oil. As soon as he confirms the purchase, the bottles begin materializing before him, forming like they're being created by a 3D printer. Every time an item appears, Seo-jun watches in awe. No matter how many times he sees it, the process never fails to surprise him. Once all the bottles of canola oil have been generated, Seo-jun quickly gathers them onto his lap and rushes to the kitchen. He wastes no time grabbing a saucepan and pouring the canola oil into heat. While the oil heats up, Seo-jun grabs a stick and ties a white t-shirt to it, twisting it tightly. He dips the shirt into the heating oil, allowing it to soak up the liquid completely. Once the t-shirt is thoroughly soaked, Seo-jun carefully places the oil-soaked shirt aside. He takes the rest of the canola oil bottles and stores them back in his ultimate shut-in store. Now ready, Seo-jun pulls out a lighter and ignites the oil-soaked t-shirt. In an instant, it transforms into a flaming torch. With the torch in hand, Seo-jun runs toward his balcony. As he reaches the balcony, he notices the crow beast still waiting, its disgusting mouth slightly open, drooling in anticipation. It's waiting for Seo-jun to step out so it can attack. Seo-jun grips the torch tightly, his mind racing with determination. He closes his eyes, focuses intensely, and imagines the boiling hot canola oil splashing directly onto the crow beast's head. With a sharp command, the oil is summoned. In a loud splash, the boiling oil pours down on the crow beast's body. The effect is immediate. The crow beast screams in agony as its body begins to burn from the intense heat. The oil is so hot that the creature's entire body starts catching fire. But Seo-jun isn't done yet. With a swift motion, he throws the flaming torch directly onto the burning crow beast. The moment the torch comes into contact with the hot oil, it ignites the creature even further. In mere seconds, the beast is engulfed in flames, its entire body burning rapidly. The crow beast lets out a final deafening roar before its wings catch fire. It struggles to move, but it's too late. With a loud bang, the burning beast collapses to the ground, still aflame. Seo-jun watches from his balcony as the beast burns slowly. The smell is horrific, and Seo-jun's face twists in disgust as the stench fills his nose. After 5 to 10 minutes, the beast finally dies. The system immediately notifies Seo-jun. Seo-jun has defeated a level 27 Kalkan beast. Seo-jun has gained a massive amount of experience points. As a result, Seo-jun levels up 3 to 4 times, and his skills improve significantly. Not only that, Seo-jun also unlocks a new skill. The system completes the loot calculation, notifying Seo-jun that he has earned 9.3 million won, which has been deposited directly into his ultimate shut-in wallet. Seo-jun's face reflects a mix of disbelief and awe. He has never seen so much money in his life. But the system isn't done. It informs Seo-jun that he has fulfilled all requirements, and the house territory expansion will now begin. Before Seo-jun can process this, the building starts to shake violently. Seo-jun struggles to keep his balance, unsure of what's happening. His vision begins to blur, and his chest tightens as intense pain spreads through his body. Seo-jun feels his senses heighten dramatically. His vision turns black and white, and suddenly, he becomes acutely aware of everything around him, even sensing the movement of an ant nearby. Information floods Seo-jun's mind at an overwhelming speed. His vision expands rapidly, and he begins to sense something surprising. Seo-jun realizes there's a family nearby. A father, a mother, and 2 children, all huddled together in a dark room. Confused, Seo-jun wonders who these people are. After thinking for a moment, he realizes they're his neighbors. After that, the scene shifts. We see Seo-jun still standing in the same spot, holding his head. His eyes remain black, and his vision continues to reveal everything happening within a limited distance. Seo-jun is overwhelmed. So much information is flooding his mind at once. Despite the confusion, Seo-jun's eyes fixate on the family he sensed earlier. A husband, a wife, and their 2 children, all appearing tense and worried. The tension builds so much within Seo-jun that, in a sudden act, he deactivates his skill. As soon as he does, the black fog lifts from his eyes and disperses throughout the room in a shockwave. In that moment, Seo-jun unlocks a new skill, Domain Expansion X-ray Vision. Seo-jun already possessed the Domain Expansion Ultimate Barrier, but now, with the addition of X-ray Vision, he can see everything happening inside his building in detail. Back to the story. Seo-jun is shaken by this experience. He starts laughing uncontrollably, not from joy, but from sheer disbelief. So much information is buzzing in his head. The first piece of information, the details about Choi Yun, a 30-year-old man who is the husband Seo Jun sensed earlier. Then comes Park Hyun, the wife, also 30 years old. Finally, information floods in about their two children, a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. Suddenly, the system notifies Seo Jun that he has discovered beings who meet the requirements to become citizens of his barrier. It asks if Seo Jun wants to grant them citizenship. Seo Jun pauses. He doesn't understand what citizenship means, or what will happen if he doesn't grant it to these 4 people. The system explains, if Seo Jun doesn't grant them citizenship, they will be forced to leave the barrier. Initially, Seo Jun's barrier only covered his room, but with this recent expansion, his barrier has tripled in size, now including his neighbors' rooms as well. Seo Jun realizes the weight of his decision. If he doesn't give citizenship to the family, they'll be expelled from their rooms, left defenseless against the monsters outside. Seo Jun knows what will happen if that occurs. They'll be killed. Without hesitation, Seo Jun grants citizenship to the 4 people. The system registers their citizenship, and now Seo Jun's new citizenship skill becomes active. With determined eyes, Seo Jun begins exploring this new ability. He discovers that his skill is called Ultimate All-Seeing Eyes, Level 1. With this skill, nothing inside Seo Jun's barrier can escape his sight. He can concentrate his vision on any part of the barrier and view it as if watching TV. Seo Jun opens his system window and notices a new icon, Citizenship Management. As soon as he clicks it, the names of the 4 family members appear, the husband, wife, and their 2 children. The system provides detailed information that the husband is level 9, the wife is level 5, the children are levels 2 and 3. Additionally, their trust levels are displayed. Also, the husband's trust is at 24. The wife's trust is at 18. The children's trust levels are 32 and 42, respectively. However, what shocks Seo Jun most is when he notices the current population limit. The system reveals that Seo Jun's citizenship skill can support 600 people, yet only 4 are currently registered. Seo Jun is stunned. He now has the potential to take in 600 citizens under his barrier, but he still doesn't fully understand the benefits of granting citizenship. Curious, Seo Jun explores further. When he clicks on the husband's profile, a new window opens, revealing more details. That Choi Yun's awakening ability was none. Experience distribution rate was 0%. Money distribution rate was 0%. And finally, the system shows that Seo Jun can adjust these rates. He can assign quests to Choi Yun and even expel him from the barrier if needed. Seo Jun thinks for a moment, analyzing the experience and money distribution rates. A theory begins to form in his mind. Seo Jun believes these options mean that whatever monsters the citizens kill in the future, Seo Jun can decide how much of their experience and earnings he will receive. If Seo Jun's theory is correct, this means he could earn XP and money effortlessly by simply managing his citizens. He wouldn't even need to leave his house. His citizens would do the work for him while he reaped the rewards. Realizing this, Seo Jun's lips curl into a smirking smile. The possibilities of his new skill excite him, and he begins to see how this could change everything. After that, Seo Jun notices a gift quest icon in Choi Hung's system window. As soon as Seo Jun clicks on the gift quest icon, a new system menu opens. Here, Seo Jun realizes that he can give quests to his citizens. At this rate, Seo Jun doesn't even need a system to get stronger. He is the system, the administrator of his own domain. Seo Jun decides to create a new quest for the husband. Seo Jun writes the details. The husband must kill a goblin within 168 hours. The reward? A small amount of XP. The penalty? None. But Seo Jun gets curious. Can the penalty be edited? How far can he push it? Seo Jun wonders if the system will accept something as extreme as a death penalty. With a daring thought, Seo Jun types death as the penalty for failure. To his shock, the system accepts it. This means if Seo Jun assigns this quest and his husband fails, his husband will die. Seo Jun immediately cancels the quest. The realization hits him. At any moment, he has the power to kill his citizens. Seo Jun sits on the ground, deep in thought. With this insane ability, what could he accomplish? How could he use it to his advantage? Seo Jun sits for a long time, eyes closed, contemplating his next move. Then he decides to use his domain expansion, all-seeing pervy eyes, to observe the family. He wants to know what they're doing, what they need, and what's going through their minds. Seo-jun activates his skill again, his eyes turning black with intense concentration. Through his vision, he starts peeking into the family's room. The scene shifts to the family. From now on, we'll call the husband Fatty. Fatty's wife, distressed, asks him what they should do. They're running out of food, out of water, and without electricity. "How will we survive?" she pleads. Fatty appears conflicted as he looks toward his wife. They are running out of food, water, and without electricity, survival seems impossible. His youngest daughter weakly tugs at her mother's sleeve, her parched lips trembling as she whispers about being thirsty. Fatty's gaze shifts between his daughters. If he were alone, he could endure the suffering, but the sight of his children hungry and thirsty is unbearable. His mind races as he tries to think of a way forward. He knows he must go outside to find water. The supermarket nearby is the only chance they have, but stepping out into the chaos could mean never returning. His wife's worried glance reveals her fear. She knows how dangerous the outside world has become. The silence in the room is heavy, filled with despair. The family's collective fear and uncertainty weigh on Seo-jun as he watches. Unable to take in any more, Seo-jun deactivates his ultimate all-seeing eyes. The vision fades, but the emotional weight of what he witnessed lingers. Seo-jun opens his system notifications, searching for answers and solutions. Navigating through his ultimate shut-in store, Seo-jun discovers the upgrade section. He notices he has 3 upgrade points to distribute among Storage, Dignity Preservation, Ultimate Shut-in Store. Without hesitation, Seo-jun upgrades his ultimate shut-in store to level 2. A bright light flashes as the upgrade completes. Now, instead of storing just 10 items, Seo-jun can store 20 items. Additionally, he can purchase all items at a 10% discount. Seo-jun pauses to strategize. After careful thought, he upgrades the Ultimate Shut-in Store to level 3, the Dignity Preservation skill to level 2. Another burst of light signifies the completion of these upgrades. Seo-jun sits back, satisfied with his decisions. With the level 3 Ultimate Shut-in Store, Seo-jun can manage a significantly larger inventory, and by upgrading Dignity Preservation, he can now provide electricity and other facilities to the family. Seo-jun realizes this is a critical move. Extending resources to the family will increase their trust in him. That trust will allow Seo-jun to use them strategically for his future plans. Seo-jun smiles faintly. He feels the shift in his control, knowing the power he now holds isn't just immense, it's limitless. But that's not all. Upon reaching level 3, Seo-jun unlocks a new ability that allows him to restore any destroyed items stored in the Ultimate Shut-in Store. Upon seeing this new ability, Seo-jun closes his eyes for a moment, then opens them and begins laughing. This skill is genuinely dangerous. Seo-jun chuckles, realizing it was absolutely worth it to upgrade the Ultimate Shut-in Store to level 3. Seo-jun thinks about the leftover food and damaged items scattered around his house. If he stores these items in the Ultimate Shut-in Store, the system will restore them to their original state. This realization fills Seo-jun with excitement. Without hesitation, Seo-jun opens the Ultimate Shut-in Store and begins buying large amounts of food and water. Afterward, Seo-jun upgrades his Dignity Preservation skill to level 2. The system immediately notifies him that he has unlocked a new ability, the ability to register vessels. Confused, Seo-jun tries to understand what vessels are, but the system doesn't provide further information. Seo-jun decides to figure it out later. Right now, his priority is to check on the family. The scene shifts, and we see Fatty packing his bag to go out and fetch water. His wife and 2 daughters are visibly upset, their expressions filled with fear and sadness. Fatty kneels down beside his daughters, placing his hands gently on their heads. He tells them to be good girls and to listen to their mother while he's away. The 2 girls, trying to be brave, tell their father to be careful and to come back safely. Fatty pats their heads softly and reassures them, promising that he will return. But deep inside, he knows the truth. Going outside might mean he'll never come back. Fatty's youngest daughter begins crying, recalling the monsters outside. The scene flashes back to 3 days ago. It was a golden morning, the sun shining brightly as Fatty's 2 daughters played in the park. Everything seemed peaceful until suddenly a horde of goblins attacked. The goblins wreaked havoc, devouring other children in the park. Without hesitation, Fatty's parents, like heroes, grabbed their grandchildren and raced back home. The memory lingers in the children's minds, filling them with dread. Back in the present, the daughters cry, fearing that the monsters will kill their father if he goes outside. Fatty's wife tries to comfort them, hiding her own fear. Fatty stands firm, his resolve unwavering. He knows the dangers but insists he must go. Deep down, though, he feels this might be the last time he'll see his wife and daughters. Suddenly, a knock echoes through the room, startling everyone. Fatty's wife and daughters freeze in fear. Fatty grabs a baseball bat from his bag, his heart racing. From the other side of the door, a deep, creepy voice calls out, asking if anyone is inside. Fatty tightens his grip on the bat, wondering if the voice belongs to a monster pretending to be human. His wife keeps her daughters silent, holding their mouths to prevent them from making a sound. The knocking persists, and Fatty steps cautiously toward the door. His grip on the bat tightens as he prepares for the worst. With a loud bang, the door bursts open. Fatty's instinct kicks in. He immediately runs back to his wife, shielding his daughters and promising he won't let anything happen to them. Tears stream down his face as he hugs them tightly. From behind him, a warm and kind tone interrupts the tension. A voice reassures him that there's no need to be scared. Fatty turns around slowly, his body still trembling. To his surprise, it's not a monster standing there, but a human. The man introduces himself kindly, saying his name is Seo Jun. He explains that he lives in the next room and has brought food and water for Fatty's family. He asks if they can talk. Hearing about the food and water, Fatty feels both surprised and confused. His wife looks at Seo Jun skeptically but doesn't sense any immediate danger. Although Fatty has lived in the apartment for years, he has never seen Seo Jun before. However, something about Seo Jun's demeanor feels genuine. Fatty's gut instinct tells him this person isn't bad. After a moment of hesitation, Fatty decides to trust Seo Jun. After that, the scene shifts, and we see Fatty's two children hiding behind their dad, their suspicious eyes fixed on Seo Jun. Both children don't trust him at all. Meanwhile, Fatty, his wife, and the two kids are sitting together at the same table. Seo Jun is peeling oranges, thinking how to break this tense environment. Seo Jun watches them quietly, wondering if he has given too much big of a shock. However, as Seo Jun looks around their room, he notices it is completely bare. They have no food, no water, and no light. The curtains are drawn tightly to prevent attracting monsters from outside. Seo Jun nods to himself, acknowledging that keeping the curtains closed was a smart move. Had they been left open, the crow beast would have surely attacked. Deciding to help further, Seo Jun concentrates on the ceiling light of the room. His eyes begin to glow blue, and with a single blink, the room's light flickers to life. Fatty glances at the suddenly illuminated room, his face etched with confusion. He wonders how the light turned on. But before he can think too much, Seo Jun slides a bottle of water across the table. Seo Jun gestures for Fatty to give the water to his children first. Fatty nods, passing the bottle to his kids. The moment the kids get the water, they grab it eagerly and start drinking quickly. The children drink deeply, savoring every drop. To them, the water tastes unusually sweet and refreshing. Seo Jun observes them closely, a faint smile on his face. The youngest child, Seo Hyun, drinks so much water in one go that she nearly chokes. Noticing this, Seo Jun quickly offers her an orange. Seo Hyun, still wary, hesitates, but eventually reaches out, taking the orange cautiously. As soon as Seo Hyun peels the orange slightly, the sweet, tangy aroma fills the air. The smell is so delightful that her mouth begins to water. Seo Hyun carries the orange to her mom and quietly asks her to peel it. Her mom peels a piece of the orange and feeds it to her gently. The moment Seo Hyun eats it, her eyes sparkle with delight. The orange is so sweet and juicy that it melts in her mouth. Her joy is evident, and the tension in the room begins to ease. Seeing her sister enjoy the orange, Na-yun, the older child, starts drooling and asks their mom for a piece as well. Fatty's wife obliges, peeling another piece of orange and feeding it to Na-hyun. As Na-hyun eats, she too finds the orange delicious beyond words. The children's laughter begins to fill the room, transforming the previously tense atmosphere into one of happiness. As Seo Jun observes the family's newfound joy, the system notification appears before his eyes. Fatty's wife and husband's trust in Seo Jun has increased significantly. Fatty's youngest child's trust has exceeded 50. Seo Hyun's trust level has now reached 57, qualifying her to become a vessel. Seo Jun is shocked to see this notification. Though he still doesn't fully understand what a vessel is, he is certain of one thing: he does not want to make a 3-year-old child his vessel. Thinking about it further, Seo Jun considers Fatty's trust level. If Fatty's trust surpasses 50, then maybe Seo Jun will be able to make Fatty his vessel. However, Seo Jun quickly recalls another limitation. At his current level, he can only have 10 vessels at a time. This means he will have to choose his vessels wisely. Seo Jun sits back, his thoughts racing. His newfound ability has opened doors to endless possibilities, but with power comes decisions, and Seo Jun knows he will need to be careful moving forward. Seo Jun thinks hard about how he can increase Fatty's trust to 50 or more, as Fatty's current trust level is only 31. Seo-jun is deeply lost in thought when Fatty suddenly clears his throat and calls out to Seo-jun. Fatty begins by thanking Seo-jun earnestly. He explains that Seo-jun can't even imagine how happy and relieved he feels after receiving a little food and water for his family. Fatty then asks how he could possibly repay Seo-jun's kindness. Seo-jun responds calmly, suggesting they step outside to discuss things further. The scene shifts, and now we see Fatty and Seo-jun standing in the corridor. Seo-jun starts by asking Fatty if he received a system notification, specifically a citizenship notification. Fatty nods, explaining that not only he but his entire family received the notification about 30 minutes ago. Seo-jun presses further, asking if Fatty noticed anything strange when the notification appeared. Fatty explains that for a brief moment, none of them could move. They were frozen in place, which scared them deeply, but after a while, they regained their ability to move. Hearing this, Seo-jun realizes something critical. If he hadn't granted citizenship to Fatty and his family in time, they would have been teleported out of the building. This realization makes Seo-jun's demeanor serious and focused. With a clear and confident tone, Seo-jun tells Fatty that if he helps him, Seo-jun will provide food, water, shelter, electricity, and most importantly, protection. Seo-jun assures Fatty that no monster will be able to come near them. Their safety will be guaranteed. Fatty looks shocked by this bold promise. He asks how such a thing could even be possible. However, Seo-jun doesn't explain further. Instead, Seo-jun states firmly that if Fatty wants food, water, and safety, he must trust Seo-jun without question. Seo-jun also assures him that he will never ask him to do anything that puts his life at risk. Fatty closes his eyes for a moment, trusting his gut feeling. Despite everything, Fatty feels that Seo-jun is not a bad person. However, Fatty raises a valid point. There's nothing free in this world, so what do you want in return? Seo-jun replies calmly that he doesn't want anything material. He only wants Fatty to do something small for him. Fatty, who initially feared that Seo-jun might demand something dangerous, feels relieved by this response. His trust in Seo-jun increases significantly. With a warm tone, Fatty even calls Seo-jun his brother. Seo-jun smiles slightly, acknowledging Fatty's words. Then, shifting the conversation, Seo-jun points to the golf club Fatty had earlier and asks what its price was. Fatty looks confused as to why Seo-jun would ask about the price of a golf club. Seo-jun pauses, appearing startled when Fatty mentions the high value of the golf club. Seo-jun realizes it would be too expensive to list in his store. Changing the subject, Seo-jun tells Fatty they can discuss the golf club later. Seo-jun then asks Fatty if he remembers when the apocalypse began. Fatty recalls that it was a weekend when he took his kids out to play. That's when a horde of goblins suddenly attacked. Fatty recounts how terrifying the experience was and confirms that the apocalypse began on that day. Seo-jun pieces together the timeline, remembering that on that day, he was chilling in his room like a true shut-in. He deduces that those who stayed home that day might have been spared from the initial wave of destruction. Seo-jun reflects on the nature of the goblins. Individually, they're not very dangerous, but in large groups, they become a serious threat. Seo-jun thinks about his citizenship ability and concludes that it will be crucial for survival in the apocalypse. Finally, Seo-jun gives Fatty a clear and decisive command. Find survivors and bring them to this building. After that, the scene shifts, and we see Seo-jun lying comfortably on his sofa. His gaze is fixed on the system notification, observing how slowly but surely Fatty's trust is increasing. Fatty's trust level has reached 40, but Seo-jun is eager for it to hit 50 soon. Meanwhile, Seo-jun is lost in deep thought, wondering when he will be able to level up and finally leave his barrier to meet his family. He contemplates whether continually granting citizenship to others and leveling up will eventually allow him to reunite with them. As Seo-jun muses over these thoughts, a very loud voice suddenly startles him. The sound pierces through the silence, and Seo-jun instantly recognizes it as a zombie's groan. But alongside this familiar noise, there's another unknown sound that catches him off guard. Seo-jun rushes to his window and peers outside. His eyes widen as he realizes the second voice belongs to a human. Looking down, Seo-jun spots a group of 6 to 7 people fighting against a horde of goblins. For a moment, Seo-jun feels a pang of worry. Observing the struggle, he concludes that these people won't survive. The goblins will kill them all. Seo-jun notices that the group is too far from his building. This means he won't be able to use his summoning ability to drop dumbbells to kill the goblins. Seo-jun starts to panic. However, to his surprise, one of the fighters, a teenager, hurls a baseball with incredible force. The ball shoots through the air like a bullet, hitting a goblin squarely. The goblin collapses and dies instantly. But this was not the end. Another teenager, wearing a purple tracksuit and wielding a bow and arrow, steps forward. With great accuracy, she launches 2 arrows at once. Both arrows hit their targets, and the 2 goblins die immediately. Finally, a third teenager with a large build steps into view. Holding a baseball bat, he jumps high into the air. With a thunderous bang, he crushes a goblin's head with ease. This teenager, with his commanding presence, exudes main character energy. He seems to be the leader of the group. The remaining goblins, realizing the danger, begin to run for their lives. Suddenly, a sharp noise startles the girl in the purple tracksuit. She turns quickly, thinking a goblin is behind her, but to her surprise, she finds only a ramen packet lying on the ground. She picks it up, puzzled, and wonders where it came from. Just then, a weird noise catches her attention. Looking up, she notices a black shadow on top of the building. It's Seo-jun, trying to call her inside the building. Seeing this strange man waving at her, the girl looks confused. On the other hand, Seo-jun is determined, trying his best to get the group to enter his building. As Seo-jun watches the group, he suddenly hears a knock on his door. Turning around, he notices it's Fatty. Seo-jun calls Fatty to come inside, but when Fatty tries to step into the room, the system blocks him. A notification appears, stating that Fatty is not permitted to enter. This revelation surprises Seo-jun. It confirms that no one can enter Seo-jun's room, even if he allows them. Seo-jun begins to wonder, will a vessel be able to enter? But he sets the thought aside for now. Seo-jun steps outside his room to check the box. He then instructs Fatty to gather all the cheap items from his home that could act as weapons. After checking the weapons, Seo-jun immediately opens his ultimate shut-in store and summons 5 packets of ramen and 5 bottles of water. Within seconds, the items materialize in front of Fatty as though created by a 3D printing machine. Fatty looks astonished, his eyes wide with amazement. For the first time, he witnesses Seo-jun's powers in action. Seo-jun calmly gathers the packets and bottles, places them into a box, and hands it to Fatty. Seo-jun then tells Fatty to deliver the box outside the building as his next mission. Fatty's expression turns concerned. He reminds Seo-jun of the many goblins lurking outside. Seo-jun reassures him confidently, claiming that he has already killed all the goblins nearby. Fatty hesitates, but ultimately believes in Seo-jun's words. Seo-jun adds that food has become an invaluable resource in the outside world. Even a small packet of noodles is now sold for millions of won. Seo-jun explains his grand plan. By giving food to the awakened hunters outside, they will see him as their king and follow him without question. Seo-jun smirks internally, knowing he is following Lilith's slavery technique. According to this method, if Seo-jun provides food and water, those who receive it will inevitably become his slaves. Fatty trusts Seo-jun completely and agrees to deliver the box. Seo-jun then creates a new quest for Fatty. The quest requires Fatty to drop off the food and water outside the building. As a reward, Fatty will receive a small amount of experience points. Unbeknownst to Fatty, all the quests and rewards in the system notifications are created by Seo-jun himself. Fatty, however, feels thrilled at the idea of gaining XP for such a simple task. Fatty heads downstairs, carrying the box. Though nervous, he trusts Seo-jun completely. He holds a golf club as his weapon, gripping it tightly. Finally, Fatty steps out of the building. The fear hits him instantly. His mind is filled with one thought: drop the box quickly and run back. As Fatty bends down to place the box, he hears footsteps approaching. Fatty freezes, his body trembling. Out of the corner of his eye, he spots a black shadow standing to his left. Panic consumes him. Fatty imagines it's a bloodthirsty goblin ready to tear him apart. Heart pounding, Fatty tries to retreat toward the building, but he slips. The box of food and water crashes to the ground, scattering its contents. Fatty lies there, paralyzed with fear. His face turns red, and his breaths grow erratic. The footsteps grow louder, closing in on him, tears welling in his eyes. Fatty begs for mercy, pleading with the imagined goblins not to kill him. Summoning the courage to open his eyes, Fatty is shocked to discover that there are no goblins. Instead, standing before him is a group of teenagers and students, all staring at him in surprise. But why the hell does baseball bat guy look like Toji? After that, the scene shifts, and the system notifies Seo-jun that a subject who has not been permitted to enter is trying to gain access. Seeing this, Seo-jun immediately understands that the 6 or 7 people he saw earlier outside the building are now attempting to enter. Seo-jun closes his eyes and activates his ultimate all-seeing pervy eyes. Through his vision, he observes the teenagers standing in front of the building's door. Among them, a girl in a purple tracksuit turns to her friends and remarks that this is the same apartment from which a weird boy threw ramen. One of the boys, holding a baseball bat, comments that if someone is casually throwing away ramen like that, it must mean they have a lot of food. For simplicity, Seo-jun decides to refer to this boy as Toji. Seo-jun deactivates his ultimate all-seeing eyes and attempts to add them as citizens. However, the system interrupts him with a notification. Beings that meet the requirement for citizenship are approaching. Will Seo-jun propose citizenship to them? Hearing the word propose, Seo-jun pauses, confused. He realizes that a proposal means the teenagers can reject it. The thought troubles him. If they refuse, it will hinder Seo-jun's plans to expand his citizen population. Seo-jun, feeling a bit upset, knows he must devise a plan to ensure the teenagers accept his proposal. At the same time, Seo-jun receives a call from Fatty through the building's CCTV system. Hearing Fatty's voice, Seo-jun suddenly gets a brilliant idea. Seo-jun instructs Fatty to wait and quickly updates Fatty's quest. He assigns Fatty a new mission: feed the teenager, give them warm clothes, and let them bathe in hot water. Essentially, Fatty is to provide them with VIP treatment. Fatty immediately accepts the quest. He approaches the teenagers standing outside the barrier and informs them that if they accept Seo-jun's proposal, they will receive free food and water. Hearing the offer of food and water, the teenagers quickly agree. Seo-jun sends them the proposal, and as soon as they accept, the barrier opens, allowing them to enter the apartment. Once inside, the system notifies Seo-jun. Seo-jun's citizen count has increased by 10%. The XP and money earned by Seo-jun's citizens will also increase by 10%. This buff is significant. It means Seo-jun's citizens will now gain 10% more experience points and 10% more gold for every monster they kill. Seo-jun carefully observes the teenagers and reviews their profiles one by one. The highest level teenager among them is named Han Dong. Seo-jun immediately recognizes him as the same boy who had thrown a baseball and killed a goblin earlier. Curious, Seo-jun opens Han Dong's status window and confirms his details. Han Dong's awakening ability is called Baseball Throw. It is a D-rank ability, but its potential is deadly. With this skill, Han Dong's strength increases exponentially, enabling him to throw objects with 10 times the force. Seo-jun realizes that this ability is incredibly dangerous. At high speeds, a baseball thrown by Han Dong would act like a cannonball. Seo-jun concludes that all these teenagers are metahumans. He decides to set their XP distribution rate at 70%, meaning the teenagers will keep 70% of the experience points they earn, while Seo-jun will receive 30%. Satisfied with this arrangement, Seo-jun confirms the settings and begins strategizing. He realizes that if he continues recruiting more citizens in the future, they will essentially become his auto-hunting team. While his citizens hunt and earn XP, Seo-jun will passively grow stronger and wealthier. This realization makes Seo-jun feel like he's in a real-life auto-hunting game. Seo-jun knows his next step is to build trust with these new citizens. Surprisingly, even without much effort, Seo-jun notices that their trust in him is already increasing. Seo-jun is confused by this sudden shift, but decides to observe further. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to Fatty, who has brought all the teenagers into his apartment. Fatty's wife, seeing the group of strangers, is understandably confused. She hesitates but listens as Fatty apologizes for the inconvenience and explains that they need food and warmth. Fatty asks his wife if she could cook hot food for the teenagers. Though worried about the situation, Fatty's wife agrees to help. She quietly begins preparing a meal for the group, deciding to trust Fatty for now. Seo-jun watches all of this unfold through his ultimate all-seeing eyes, pleased with how smoothly the situation is progressing. The foundation of trust is being laid, and Seo-jun feels confident that this is just the beginning of something much greater. After a while, Han Dong asks Fatty what kind of person Seo-jun is. Fatty explains that even he doesn't know much about Seo-jun. This surprises the entire group. Fatty elaborates that he only met Seo-jun recently and knows him as a neighbor. Fatty describes Seo-jun as a weird person, but emphasizes one thing: Seo-jun is kind-hearted and has a helping nature. Fatty mentions that thanks to Seo-jun, he now has electricity, water, and food. Hearing all this, Han Dong becomes a little worried. His gaze shifts to the jacket where the ramen packet Seo-jun gave them is stored. Han Dong thinks Seo-jun must be a very dangerous and powerful metahuman. Han Dong silently resolves to impress Seo-jun by any means necessary. His trust in Seo-jun increases significantly as he believes that someone with the power to provide electricity and food must be an extremely powerful being. Han Dong knows better than to upset someone like that. Meanwhile, Fatty asks the two girls in Han Dong's group if they want to take a shower while the food is being prepared. The moment Fatty mentions shower, the girls' eyes begin to sparkle. It had been 3 days since they last bathed, and their bodies were reeking. The mere thought of a shower excites them. Han Dong is also taken aback. He suddenly realizes that if the apartment has electricity, the shower must also be functional. Fatty confirms this and adds that there's even hot water. The girls' jaws drop open. Fatty further explains that the hot water is also a part of Seo-jun's abilities. At this moment, Seo-jun is like an electrician, a plumber, and a water provider. Our all-rounder god Joni Bro. One of the girls quips that Seo-jun seems like their god of all trades right now. While the group discusses this, a teenager wearing glasses approaches Han Dong and smugly asks if he thinks he is more powerful than Seo-jun. Han Dong admits that, based on Seo-jun's abilities, it seems impossible for anyone in their group to surpass him. Suddenly, Toji grabs Han Dong by the shoulder and suggests that they should team up and beat Seo-jun together. His twisted reasoning is that if they overpower Seo-jun, he'll surrender all his food to them. Hearing this, Han Dong becomes visibly irritated. He calls Toji a lunatic and tells him that instead of attacking Seo-jun, they should focus on improving his impression of them. Han Dong pleads with Toji and firmly asks him to not do anything foolish. The group eventually agrees that their best course of action is to impress Seo-jun. The scene shifts, and we are introduced to a sad, weak, and innocent boy whose name is still unknown. However, Han Dong walks over to him and introduces him as Bayugon. Han Dong apologizes to Bayugon, acknowledging that his sadness might stem from Han Dong's past actions. Han Dong explains that during his housewarming party, he invited all his friends over, including Bayugon. At that very moment, the apocalypse began. Bayugon's grandmother, his only remaining family member, was left behind at his house. This is why Bayugon is so upset. Bayugon quietly mentions that he had no choice but to attend the party, so it's not Han Dong's fault. Han Dong assures the group that after eating, they'll plan to rescue Bayugon's grandmother. However, Bayugon remains deeply distressed. Biting his lip, he quietly thinks to himself that his grandmother might no longer be alive. He fears the goblins have already killed her. The group collectively begins brainstorming ways to rescue Bayugon's grandmother when suddenly, the door slowly opens. The atmosphere grows tense. Han Dong instinctively grabs his baseball bat, convinced a goblin has entered. But instead of a goblin, Seo-jun walks in, carrying 2 black bags in his hands. Seo-jun is wearing a plain t-shirt and shorts. The group immediately senses a powerful aura radiating from him. In that moment, Han Dong realizes that Seo-jun is the only one who can solve all their problems. Seo-jun steps inside with a dead serious face and looks at the group. Without hesitation, Seo-jun confidently states that he will help them. Everyone was seated, but the atmosphere was incredibly tense. Fatty's wife, noticing this, felt a bit embarrassed. She apologized, explaining that their house was small, which was why there wasn't enough space for everyone. Dongjeon tried to comfort her, saying it was their fault for showing up without notice. At that moment, Fatty arrived with warm food and started serving everyone. On the other hand, the young group, seeing the dishes, was visibly surprised. For the first time in such a long while, they not only saw food, but clean and warm food. Fatty's wife grew increasingly nervous, worrying whether the guests would like the meal: rice, fried eggs, kimchi, and warm water. The dish was truly mouth-watering. The table was filled with various dishes. One of the girls took a small bite to taste the egg shabbles. As soon as she took a bite, she was shocked, her mouth practically drooling before suddenly exclaiming how delicious the food was. She absolutely loved it. Hearing this, Fatty's wife felt relieved and smiled. She shared that the credit for the food went to Seo-jun's ingredients, without which it wouldn't have turned out so well, as she didn't even have food for herself. Everyone was silent, wondering, who the hell is this Seo-jun guy? Just then, a system notification appeared for Seo-jun, informing him that Fatty's wife's trust level had reached 50. This made Seo-jun happy. because her trust level had increased faster than Fatty's. Everyone then started enjoying the meal together. Their faces lit up as if they hadn't eaten such delicious food in a long time. They were genuinely enjoying the food. One of the girls commented that the EGG rolls were excellent, good enough to serve in a restaurant, and in this apocalypse, such food was practically a heavenly dish. Another girl, curious, asked Fatty's wife if these were the same EGG rolls often served in Japanese restaurants. Seeing everyone so happy, Fatty's wife felt equally joyful and encouraged them to enjoy their meal. At that moment, her young daughter approached her with a sad face, saying she also wanted to eat those delicious egg rolls. Her mother placed a comforting hand on her forehead and promised to make more egg rolls for her after the guests left. However, the little girl still wasn't satisfied and looked as though she was about to cry. One of the girls then called the child over and asked if she would like to share her egg roll. Hearing this, the little girl's face lit up with excitement, and she quickly ran over to sit beside her. The girl, overflowing with emotion from Seo Yeon's cuteness and happiness, used her chopsticks to feed her the egg roll. After tasting it, Seo Yeon was absolutely delighted. While everyone was happily enjoying the meal, Seo-jun noticed that Fatty and his wife were standing nearby, watching everyone with content smiles. Seeing this, Seo-jun invited them to join the table and eat with everyone. Fatty and his wife were initially surprised, but eventually sat down and joined the group, enjoying the meal together. As everyone continued to eat, Seo-jun found himself feeling a bit sad. Watching everyone share a meal reminded him of how long it had been since he had experienced such warmth. He thought about his parents and hoped they were safe. With that, the dinner concluded. Then Seo Yeon went to her mother and said she felt very sleepy. Her mother picked her up in her arms and began taking her to bed. Her older daughter also followed, heading off to sleep. Now, it was time for some serious talk. Seo-jun said that they should continue the discussion. He turned to Dongjeon and asked why he couldn't visit his grandmother's house, even though it was so close. Dongjeon appeared nervous and explained that it was because of the goblins. Hearing about the goblins, Seo-jun's face turned serious. Then, Dongjeon elaborated, saying that the underground car park of the apartment was a perfect hiding place, so the goblins had made it their base. He further shared that he estimated the number of goblins there to be at least a few thousand. If they didn't defeat those goblins, they couldn't reach his grandmother. Hearing this, Seo-jun grew uneasy and thought to himself, the ultimate shut-in ability only applies up to the 30th floor. That's why the goblins could access the apartment building via the underground parking lot, which was not under his barrier. That was the reason Seo-jun wasn't seeing any goblins. It was because all of them were in the underground basement. Dongjeon continued, explaining that all the entrances of the apartment were connected to the underground parking lot, which was why they didn't dare to step outside. The atmosphere grew even more tense. Seo-jun, after deep thinking, then suggested that as far as he remembered, there were side roads and small extra passages that served as shortcuts to the underground parking lot. Dongjeon agreed and said their initial plan was to use the side roads to escape. However, a monster even more terrifying than the goblins had stopped them. Hearing about a creature more dangerous than goblins made Seo-jun feel a twinge of fear and surprise. Dongjeon, with a sad face, recalled the monster and explained to Seo-jun that it looked like a wolf or a bear. In fact, he described, it was as large as a bear and as fierce as a bloodthirsty wolf. Dongjeon had a flashback of the beast fighting off a large group of goblins. He added that the only reason they managed to escape at that time was because the beast was busy murdering and slaughtering the goblins, even eating them. Hearing this, Seo-jun felt deeply concerned. Dongjeon added that they couldn't be certain what that thing was. It looked like a shadow beast because the area was too dark. Seo-jun remarked that it's not like they could avoid them forever in the end. Dongjeon, still frightened, said they have their limits. He explained that without those limits, they would have already fought the goblins. Curious, Seo-jun asked him about these limits. A Rin sitting nearby answered that their weapons were almost destroyed. They were using bows and throwing baseballs. Eventually, they'd run out of things to shoot or throw. For Seo-jun, this was nothing. Seo-jun reassured them, saying he could solve that problem for them. Then, Seo-jun asked to see their arrows and baseballs. They showed him their equipment, a bow, arrows, and baseballs. Seo-jun inspected them and immediately added the baseball to his system inventory. When he tried to add the bow, a message appeared in the system, stating he needed to pay 1,530,000 won to list the high-quality compound bow. Without hesitation, Seo-jun paid the amount and added the bow to his system. Voila, unlimited supply of arrows and baseballs was added to his shop. Seo-jun then asked if all of them knew how to use bows. Everyone fell silent. Before they could answer, Seo-jun, with a serious face, quickly purchased 5 sets of bows and arrows from his system. In just a matter of seconds, the weapons appeared on the table. Seo-jun, in his casual tone, told everyone that even if they didn't know how to use them yet, they should take this opportunity to practice. He handed them the bows and encouraged them to start using them immediately. Just then, Seo-jun received a system notification that some of their trust levels had slightly increased. Seeing this, he felt a mix of surprise and happiness. At the same time, a sense of hope began to fill the group. They started to believe that with Seo-jun's help, they might actually have a chance to save Byung-go's grandmother. Their trust in Seo-jun continued to grow steadily. Dongjin was overjoyed, knowing that with these new weapons, his hunting efficiency would improve significantly. Another person commented that with this, they wouldn't have to risk their lives retrieving arrows anymore. Everyone seemed more hopeful and excited. Suddenly, Seo-jun became serious and addressed the group. Before proceeding, they needed to significantly reduce the number of goblins. Dongjin also adopted a serious tone and asked when they would start hunting. Seo-jun replied that they'd begin tomorrow. He assured them that they would definitely save Byung-go's grandmother the next day. Seo-jun tried to motivate the group. Hearing Seo-jun's promise, Byung-go's face lit up with happiness. Dongjin then asked how they were going to do that. With a confident smile, Seo-jun responded that they'd use a bait strategy. Then Seo-jun started explaining his strategy, but after hearing it, their expressions revealed their tension. They wondered whether Seo-jun's bait strategy would succeed or fail. Despite their worries, they held on to the hope that it would work. Suddenly, a system window appeared in front of Seo-jun, informing him that Fatty had completed his quest and earned a reward of 30,000 won. Seo-jun was momentarily startled by the notification as the quest reward got deducted from his account. Seo-jun understood that as long as he had money, he could level up his citizens. From now on, unless absolutely necessary, he wouldn't use it just yet. Before he could reflect further, another system window appeared, stating that Hyung-jun's trust level had increased. His trust had now reached 50, and loyalty had been unlocked, fulfilling all requirements for him to be registered as a vassal. Seo-jun was shocked by this sudden development. Just then, something unusual began happening to Hyung-jun's body. Confused, Hyung-jun didn't understand what was occurring or why he was feeling this uneasy sensation. A new system window popped up, announcing that the vassal registration was successful. As a reward, Seo-jun had gained the skill Vassal Summon. The skill allowed Seo-jun to summon his vassal into his house, but only 2 hours after the initial summoning. From now on, Hyung-jun was officially Seo-jun's first vassal, earning the title of First Servant. Seo-jun also acquired strength comparable to that of a gorilla, and the same skill was also given to Fatty. Another system notification appeared, explaining that any EXP and gold earned by Fatty through hunting would be doubled. Additionally, Seo-jun could use the All Pervy Eyes skill to summon his vassal within 5 meters of his house. All this information was overwhelming. Just then, Seo-jun noticed a plus button in the system window and clicked it. A message popped up asking if he would like to spend 1 million won to increase his vassal's level. The hefty price left Seo-jun stunned. He sat down, holding his head in frustration, thinking, is this some kind of messed up gotcha game? Seeing him like this, Fatty's wife asked Seo-jun, was something wrong? But Seo-jun shook his head and replied to her, it was nothing. From now on, Seo-jun decided they would call Fatty by his real name. Then Seo-jun asked Hyung-jun how he was feeling. Hyung-jun responded enthusiastically, saying he felt like his strength was overflowing. He could even punch a hole in a wall. He paused before asking Seo-jun if he had done something to his body. Seo-jun nodded and confirmed, yes. Hyung-jun continued, saying it felt like he'd gotten 10 years younger and a mysterious aura was filling his body. Hearing this, Seo-jun was pleased and smiled. Handing a bow to Hyung-jun, he said he wanted him to join as a part of this mission. Although Hyung-jun accepted the bow, it was clear he was nervous. His hands trembled as he held it. Seo-jun, on the other hand, thought to himself, citizens earn 10% additional EXP while vassals gain double XP. That means from now on, Fatty will become even more of a gorilla. His progress would be phenomenal. Out loud, he told Hyungjun he must kill as many monsters as he could. Though Hyungjun was still terrified and was just about to cry from fear, he agreed to the task. Seojun was delighted by Hyungjun's decision. Smiling, he assured him that he'd be counting on him. The mission finally begins as the group starts inspecting the first floor of the apartment building. While they move cautiously, Toji remarks to Dongjin that checking the first floor might be unnecessary since the windows are broken and the area is in terrible condition. He suggests there might not be any survivors. However, Dongjin disagrees and insists that they must check it anyway. He reminds the group of Seojun's instructions, saying they're here as a rescue team and that they have to save as many people as possible. He explains that their primary mission, as assigned by Seojun, is to rescue any survivors in the building and escort them safely to the 30th floor. Stopping briefly, Dongjin addresses the group, explaining the crux of the mission. They must lure large numbers of goblins into the building and eliminate them. For this strategy to work, they need to locate as many survivors as possible. He asks if everyone understands this clearly. The team confidently agrees, boosting Dongjin's morale. Meanwhile, Toji stands ready with his iron bat, prepared to smash some monsters. Dongjin directs his team to start with room 101 and advises everyone to stay alert, warning that goblins could appear at any time. The group enters units 101 and 102, where an overwhelming stench fills the air. Inside, bloodstains are everywhere. It looks as if someone had been dragged across the floor before being killed. They find a gruesome scene. Bodies scattered everywhere, broken windows, and blood smeared across the walls. Some people have been cut in half, and women lie without clothes, likely victims of goblins before being killed. This horrific sight is too much for the women in the group, and they vomit on the spot. The shocked group looks at Dongjin, who, though disheartened, urges them to move forward. The team completes their search of the first floor, but finds no survivors, leaving them disheartened. Dongjin then leads them to the second floor. However, the second floor is no better. Like the first floor, it is filled with bodies, bloodstains, and destruction, further unsettling the team. Determined to press on, they decide to check the third floor. Upon reaching it, Dongjin knocks on a door, calling out to ask if anyone is alive. The team, full of hope, begins knocking on doors one by one, but they find no survivors. Dongjin's morale starts to crumble with every passing second, but he decides to continue and check the fourth floor of the basement. The group proceeds to the fourth floor. Dongjin knocks on another door, asking again if anyone is inside. He is on the brink of giving up, praying desperately to find even a single survivor. This time, to their surprise, someone responds. A man cautiously cracks the door open and asks if they are really a rescue team. Seeing a living person, Dongjin is overjoyed. He assures the man that they are indeed there to rescue survivors. The man, exhausted but still suspicious, asks for water. The group hands him a bottle and the man looks astonished. He had thought they were intruders who had come to harm him or loot his resources. Despite his doubts, Dongjin tries to reassure the man that they are genuinely there to help. Dongjin explains that they are fellow residents of the apartment and are here to rescue survivors. He invites the man to join them. The man, still skeptical, slowly opens the door fully, revealing 2 more people inside his room. Apologizing for being paranoid earlier, he introduces himself as Hong Jung-soo and agrees to come along. Dongjin is thrilled, shaking hands with Jung-soo and introducing himself in return. He instructs 2 of his teammates to escort Jung-soo to the 30th floor and then return to continue the mission. Hearing about the 30th floor, Jung-soo grows uneasy and exclaims that they're not leaving the apartment. At that moment, Jung-soo's young son interjects, telling his father that someone would come to save them. The boy, surprisingly chill, speculates they probably have a helicopter on the 30th floor, clearly inspired by watching too many zombie apocalypse movies. Rin clarifies that it's not like that, but if they come along, they'll get warm food and a shower. Hearing the mention of a shower, Jung-soo's daughter becomes excited. She eagerly encourages her father, saying they should go with the team and not worry so much. Despite his initial hesitation, Jung-soo eventually agrees to join them. One by one, more survivors begin to follow the group, joining the rescue effort. As they continue, Seo-jun receives a system notification. It states that his number of citizens has now reached 40, and the EXP and gold earned by them have increased by 90%. The scene shifts, and we see Seo-jun deciding to temporarily house the children and elderly in Hyung-jun's house, while the others stay in the corridors. Dong-jeon approaches Seo-jun and informs him that they have only managed to rescue 40 people so far. Seo-jun asks Dong-jeon if there are only this many people in the entire building. Dong-jeon replies sadly, explaining that all those who left their rooms were brutally murdered. He adds that they've searched up to the 29th floor, but it seems many people never left their homes in the first place. Seo-jun is pleased with their efforts, though he reflects that Hyung-jun's house is already almost full. Still, he feels this number should be enough for now. Activating his all-pervy eyes, Seo-jun observes what everyone is doing. He first notices Byung-ho lifting a chair over his head. Then he sees Hyung-jun and others holding a huge water gallon, working alongside the women. Finally, he spots Dong-jeon busy with his tasks. They were almost done with all the preparations Seo-jun had instructed them to complete. Smirking, Seo-jun tells Dong-jeon they are ready to move on to the second stage of the goblin hunt. Dong-jeon gathers everyone and explains their mission, to draw out the goblins hiding underground. He elaborates that they will begin with basement level 1. The group will split into 2 teams to lure out the goblins on B1 and eliminate them. Afterward, they will proceed to clear the goblins on B2. The spectacled guy questions nervously, asking what if there are more goblins than they expect? Won't they get trapped and isolated on the first floor? And what if something happens while transporting the goblin corpses? Before Dong-jeon can respond, Rin, holding her bow, confidently declares that she'll kill all the goblins, ensuring that won't happen. She reassures the spectacled guy, reminding him that as his Nuna, she'll make sure to keep everyone safe. Dong-jeon reassures the group, adding that, unlike before, they now have plenty of arrows, so they'll be fine. His confidence convinces the concerned member to go along with the plan. Suddenly, a noise grabs their attention. Everyone becomes alert, turning immediately with serious faces to see 3 goblins standing before them. Without wasting a second, Rin immediately shoots her bow, striking 2 of the goblins with her arrows. Toji swiftly smashes the last goblin's head like a watermelon with his bat. In an instant, all 3 goblins are dead. Afterward, the spectacled guy jokingly asks Toji why he even brought a bow if he was just going to use a bat. Didn't he say he needed the bow? Toji replies that using a bat just feels natural, though he notes that he feels a little stronger than before. Unbeknownst to him, it was because of Seo-jun's improved bat. Before Toji can say more, a woman calls their attention to the goblin corpses. Surprisingly, the goblins' corpses start disappearing. Seo-jun was collecting the loot. Byung-ho, seeing this, is surprised and wonders in shock if this is another one of Seo-jun's abilities. Ignoring the distraction, Dong-jeon orders the group to head toward B1. They follow him, while Byung-ho's trust in Seo-jun grows stronger and stronger. He starts to believe that Seo-jun can really save his grandmother. Meanwhile, a system notification appears before Seo-jun, stating that the group's trust in him has increased. Sipping water, Seo-jun reads the notifications and thinks to himself that, while he hadn't planned it, it feels like he's been watching over them like a guardian. Seo-jun feels like a big brother. Just then, another system notification appears, revealing that Byung-ho has reached a trust level of 50, meeting all requirements to become a vassal. Seo-jun is surprised, as he didn't expect Byung-ho's trust in him to grow this quickly. Seo-jun reflects that Byung-ho must truly believe Seo-jun can save his grandmother. Recognizing the great development, Seo-jun notes that the more vassals he has, the faster their growth will be. He checks Byung-ho's loyalty and is shocked to see it at a whopping 88, a level even higher than that of a mother and son. Calming himself, Seo-jun decides this is good news and confirms making Byung-ho his vassal. Internally, he promises to do everything in his power to save Byung-ho's grandmother. As soon as Seo-jun confirms it, Byung-ho's body begins to glow during the goblin fight. Confused, Byung-ho has no idea what's happening. The intense light startles everyone, including the goblins, who begin retreating. Dong-jeon, nervous, tells everyone he doesn't understand what's happening and orders them to retreat. The goblins, now blinded, are unable to see. However, seeing this opportunity, the group starts running. Dongjin and Rin fire arrows at the goblins as they run. Their arrows hit the goblins squarely on their foreheads, killing them instantly. With a serious face, Rin uses her ability to fire multiple arrows at once, slaughtering many goblins. However, the sheer number of goblins overwhelms them as more keep appearing. Seeing the goblins approaching, Byung-ho panics and exclaims that it feels like even the goblins from B2 have come up to B1. This was unexpected. It seems as if the goblins can communicate telepathically. As the group runs toward the exit, they reach the gate. Dongjian tries to close it, but some goblins manage to push their hands through. The group rushes to help Dongjin, but their efforts seem futile as more goblins on the other side push against the gate. The goblins were too many, and just as they were about to break through, all the people came to help push the door. But it was no use. One goblin, using brute force alone, was grabbing the door and pushing it. And just like that, multiple goblins started piling up, making the situation worse. At that critical moment, Fatty used his gorilla strength ability to single-handedly close the gate. Straining with all his might, Hyungjun shouted to himself that he must stop them here. He have to do this no matter what. Dongjin quickly informed Hyungjun that everyone was now safe and urged him to hurry back. Hyungjun tried to escape with the others, but the goblins managed to break through the gate, causing him to fall to the ground. Hyungjun desperately told Dongjin to leave without him, but Dongjin hesitated, unsure of what to do. Suddenly, Toji rushed in, striking a goblin with his bat and trying to pull Hyungjun to safety. However, a goblin grabbed Hyungjun's leg, holding him back. At that moment, one goblin with lustful eyes began glaring at everyone, its expression revealing a hunger for what it considered a juicy, fatty piece of meat. But just as the goblins were closing in, Hyungjun vanished into thin air. Shocked, Toji froze in confusion, unable to thinking what the fuck just happened. Meanwhile, the goblins began advancing toward him. One goblin leaped to attack him, but Toji once again smashed it with his bat, sending it flying. Toji then started running toward his comrades, skillfully dodging goblin attacks. His teammates quickly covered him by firing arrows at the goblins, creating just enough of an opening for Toji to escape safely. The group continued to retreat, desperately trying to avoid being overwhelmed by the relentless goblin horde. In the dark night, under the moonlight, the entire building was pitch silent. But in the basement, a beast, a terrifying one, was devouring goblins one by one, tearing their bodies, smashing and munching the goblins like candy. It eliminated each goblin with ease and then, in anger, turned its gaze toward the building. Its only thought was to kill everyone inside, driven by an insatiable hunger for more food to eat and evolve. On the other hand, Fatty suddenly fell to the ground with a bam. Fatty was certain he wouldn't survive today. He was convinced the goblins would make him their dinner, but Fatty was confused. He didn't understand where he was. Meanwhile, Seo-jun stood in front of Fatty and with a kind tone asked how he was feeling. Fatty was shocked and worried, but Seo-jun with a kind smile helped him up. Seo-jun was glad he made Fatty his vassal because it allowed him to summon Fatty here. Fatty's leg, however, was badly injured. It was bleeding due to a goblin scratch. Fatty couldn't make sense of anything. Before he could process it, Seo-jun noticed the deep cut on Fatty's leg. Fatty tried to brush it off, saying it was nothing and would heal automatically. But Seo-jun saw that Fatty couldn't even move his leg. This was a serious situation. Seo-jun told Fatty to stay there and rush to his room. Once there, Seo-jun grabbed his first aid kit. He remembered how his mother had taught him to provide first aid in emergencies. Seo-jun had a plethora of antiseptic tablets and medical supplies. He practically had every type of medical resource. However, his ultimate shut-in inventory had only 40 slots, so he couldn't carry everything. He had to be very careful. After thinking for a moment, Seo-jun had an idea. He put all the medicines into his first aid kit and placed the kit into his inventory slot. It was a brilliant idea. Seo-jun began to wonder if he stored an entire room full of medicines or a box full of medical supplies, would he be able to duplicate them? This thought felt like a game changer to him. After preparing, Seo-jun returned to Fatty. He took out the first aid kit and asked Fatty to show him his leg. Fatty reluctantly revealed it, and blood was pouring from the wound. While cleaning the blood, Seo-jun warned Fatty that the situation was very serious. He explained that if the wound became infected, Fatty might even lose his leg. As Seo-jun treated the wound, Fatty winced in pain. Suddenly, a system notification appeared, stating that Fatty's trust in Seo-jun had increased dramatically. Finally, Seo-jun finished treating the wound. He instructed Fatty to go to his room and rest. Fatty, still in pain but grateful, obeyed. Afterward, Seo-jun closed his eyes and activated his ultimate all-pervy eyes. He saw that in the basement, Rin was relentlessly killing goblins with her bow. She moved with precision, taking out goblin after goblin. The hunt had only just begun. Toji is smashing all the goblins with his bat like a madman. They're taking turns killing goblins and sprinting upstairs. A little while ago, when Fatty suddenly vanished right in front of Toji's eyes, he had been running up the stairs like his ass was on fire. From behind, the group was shooting arrows at the goblins like their lives depended on it. Suddenly, 2 goblins appear in front of Toji, looking ready to rip him apart. Out of nowhere, Byung-ho loses it. Byung-ho spins his bat with the energy of someone on a goddamn sugar high, and in a single swing, he smashes the heads of both goblins. He doesn't fucking stop. He leaps forward, landing in front of Toji, and starts obliterating goblins one by one. It's like the power of 10 fucking elephants is running through his veins. Everyone is standing there like, what the hell just happened? Was Byung-ho always this strong? Well, thanks to becoming Seo-jun's vassal. The guy's basically on a power trip now. Seo-jun watches the chaos unfold and feels a wave of relief. Everyone looks safe for now. Taking a second, he checks Byung-ho's status. Byung-ho is now level 30. His trust is 55 and his loyalty is 88. His awakened ability? Teleportation. That's right, an A-grade game-changing ability. The guy can teleport as far as his eyes can see, and not just himself, he can bring others along too. Seo-jun grins like a damn proud dad, thinking, hell yeah, making Byung-ho a vassal was the best decision. Meanwhile, Byung-ho is still going ham, destroying goblins left and right. Toji, taking in the insanity, turns to Jaeon, the spectacle-wearing guy who looks like he's about to pass out. He asks if Jaeon can keep going. Jaeon nods, determined as fuck. The group prepares for their next attack. Toji asks Rin if the water tank is ready. Rin confirms, and just then, Byung-ho comes barreling up the stairs, dragging a whole fucking army of goblins behind him. Byung-ho leaps up the stairs, and as soon as he reaches the top, the group tips the huge water tank onto the goblins. The goblins get soaked, but it's not enough to take them out. That's when Dongjeon pulls out an extension cord and plugs it in. Wires hidden along the staircase light up, and electricity crackles through the water. The lower-level goblins, those weak-ass level 6S and 7S, fry like chicken in a fucking air fryer. But the level 10 goblins? Those bastards are still standing. The system notifies Seo-jun that he's earned a massive amount of XP and a fat stack of 34,464 won. It all goes straight into his ultimate wallet. Seo-jun grins because he's just leveled up and his skills have gotten even more broken. But then, shit gets weird. Seo-jun feels a strange pain in his body. His heart starts pounding like he just ran a fucking marathon. His entire body feels like it's on fire. Suddenly, a purple shield begins to form around him. The shield expands, spreading through the building and reaching the basement. Every high-level goblin caught within it starts fucking freezing. The system notifies Seo-jun that a hostile presence has been detected inside his shield. Seo-jun smirks because now it's time to show these little shits who's boss. With a simple command, the goblins caught inside the shield pop like fucking balloons. Blood splatters everywhere, painting the walls like a goddamn horror show. Hundreds of goblins die instantly. On another floor, a group of goblins is gathered, gearing up to march inside the building, completely clueless about their darkest future. Suddenly, a fat goblin senses something behind it. When it turns around, it sees the massive fucking beast standing there. Before the goblin can even blink, the beast chomps down on its fat-ass body, killing it instantly and brutally devouring the juicy meat like a damn snack. Watching this bloody massacre, the other goblins are terrified. But before they can make a move, the beast launches into them, slashing through the crowd like a fucking lawnmower, tearing goblins apart with its claws. A few dumbass goblins try to sneak up from behind and attack. They manage to land a few weak hits, but the beast doesn't give a damn, tossing their asses aside like trash. Some goblins, probably high on stupidity, climb onto the beast, biting and tearing into its flesh. The beast lets out a roar of pure rage as they munch on its face and tear into its body. The pain is obvious, but the beast is like, "Fuck this shit!" With one earth-shattering roar, the beast grabs every single goblin clinging to it and rips them into shreds. Pieces of goblins fly everywhere, blood splattering like a horror show. The beast stomps on the remaining corpses, smashing them into a disgusting bloody paste. The goblins are completely wiped out. But then, out of nowhere, a system notification pops up, stating that the beast has been granted fucking citizenship. Suddenly, the beast starts to shrink. Its massive, bloody form is drained of energy, and holy shit, it begins to transform. Within moments, voila! The beast is gone, and in its place stands a stunning woman. Naked as the day she was born but covered in blood, she collapses, unconscious, onto the floor. Seo-jun, watching all of this through his ultimate pervy eye, is completely stunned. He mutters, "What in the actual fuck was that?" A system window pops up, dropping more bombshells. The girl's name is Oh-yeon-ju, and her ability is called Werebear. Another notification explains, Werebear lets the user turn into a freaking monster, maxing out all physical and regenerative abilities. Seo-jun is blown away. This chick is level 33 with a goddamn A-rank ability. Then, more notifications flood in. Dongjan and Hyeon's trust hits 50, unlocking loyalty. And Toji? His loyalty surpasses 30, meeting the requirements to become a vassal. Seo-jun smirks and tells the system to register Toji. Boom! Another vassal is added to the team. Toji gains the Iron Knight ability, and a system notification explains, Iron Knight lets the user summon a fucking halberd and full-body iron armor. Seo-jun understood something crucial. The higher the vassal's levels, the stronger their awakened abilities become. He begins considering his vassals one by one. Hyungjun, with the strength of a gorilla, has a C-rank skill and is level 20. Toji, who possesses the Iron Knight ability, a B-rank skill, is level 25. Byung-ho, with his teleport A-rank skill, stands at level 30. Seo-jun contemplates further. From the moment they were registered as vassals, their levels seem to be decided based on the rank of their awakened abilities. However, a question nags at him. Are the ranks of abilities chosen at random? He ponders, if Byung-ho gained an A-rank ability corresponding to his loyalty value, then why did Hyungjun, with a higher loyalty value, only gain a C-rank ability? After all, Toji obtained a B-rank ability with a loyalty value of 31. Confused, he thinks deeper. It would be helpful to understand the factors determining higher-ranked abilities. This information is crucial, especially since he can only register 10 vassals. It would be advantageous to register someone with the potential to gain a higher-ranked ability. Finally, Seo-jun remarks to himself, not knowing what might happen if he registers a metahuman as a vassal is a problem. His thoughts are interrupted by a system notification. The metahuman is now able to freely move between stairs, elevators, and corridors. After considering this, Seo-jun heads toward the elevator and uses his all-pervy eye ability to observe the girl. She is still laying unconscious on the ground. Seo-jun calls for Hyungjun, who promptly arrives as the elevator doors open. Seo-jun instructs him, explaining that in the B2 basement, he will find a girl, and he wants Hyungjun to bring her here. Meanwhile, his teammates are tying up the defeated goblins with ropes, trying to make sense of the chaos. It looked like all the goblins were scared and running from something. Dongjan is particularly shocked, realizing he underestimated the sheer power of the ability they had just witnessed. He's stunned, seeing how Seo-jun, with a simple snap, popped all the goblins like it was nothing. Dongyeon recalls past moments, like when Hyungjun spoke about Seo-jun's godly abilities and even mentioned things like warm water. Connecting the dots, he realizes this, too, must be part of Seo-jun's abilities. He remembers Hyungjun's wife once mentioning that the ingredients for their food were all provided by Seo-jun. Deep in thought, Dongjeon concludes, all of this is connected to Seo-jun's abilities. Dongjun wonders Seo-jun is so strong he might not even need anyone, yet Seo-jun chooses to help everyone in this messed up world. Dongjeon's trust in Seo-jun increases even more. Reflecting on Byung-ho, Dongjun notes, Byung-ho had always been an introvert, but after meeting Seo-jun, he changed, behaving like a psychopathic killer for a moment. While collecting the wires, the only thought in Dongjun's mind was, Seo-jun is a being so terrifyingly strong, and his abilities are to be feared. On the other hand, Hyungjun is seen hurrying to basement level 2 to retrieve the woman. As Dongjeon continues his thoughts, he considers how blessed they all are that Seo-jun chose them. Meanwhile, Seo-jun, with his all-pervy eye, is observing everything, staying vigilant and calculating his next move. After that, the scene shifts to a flashback. A very cute child is playing with his car. He turns around, filled with joy, and calls out to his mom, asking if she can play with him too. Then, the same woman who had transformed from a beast into a human earlier appears. She is playing with her child in a kind and loving manner while her child waves his hand happily. But this happiness is short-lived. The color drains from her face as she sees something terrifying. She becomes horrified and shouts loudly. Her child, still smiling and calling for her to play, is oblivious to the danger behind him. 3 bloodthirsty goblins, drooling and ready to devour him alive. The woman is overcome by a powerful urge to protect her child. She runs as fast as she can, but it's too late. The goblins, with their insatiable hunger, do not let such delicious meat go to waste. In an instant, they tear the child apart and devour him in front of her eyes. The woman witnesses her child's brutal death, and it destroys her from the inside. This horrifying nightmare jolts her awake. The woman, Yeonju, wakes up, terrified and drenched in sweat. She screams loudly, sitting up in bed, her chest heaving. Standing nearby is Seo-jun, who greets her calmly. Seo-jun looks at her for a moment and asks how she is feeling. Yeonju, still disoriented, clutches her head, trying to comprehend where she is. Meanwhile, Seo-jun extends his hand and introduces himself, saying he is happy to meet her. However, Yeonju remains suspicious of Seo-jun and asks a single question. Was it him who did that job earlier? Seo-jun looks confused, unaware of what Yeonju means. But she persists, asking if it was he who sent the heads of the goblins flying like balloons. It turns out that while Yeonju was unconscious, Seo-jun had used his domain expansion to slaughter the goblins, making their heads pop like balloons. As Seo-jun tries to offer his hand again, Yeonju draws back, her voice quivering. She confirms that it was indeed Seo-jun who killed the goblins. This realization makes her even more suspicious and alert. Her fear of Seo-jun grows, as his immense power is undeniably terrifying. He can annihilate an entire group of goblins in an instant, like crushing ants underfoot. Yeonju's thoughts turn somber. She begins to wonder, if only she were as strong as Seo-jun, perhaps she could have saved her child. Overcome with grief, she starts shivering and crying again. She curses her own power, regretting that it awakened too late. If it had awakened earlier, maybe her son would still be alive. Through her tears, Yeonju calls out to Seo-jun. Her voice shakes and she looks utterly broken. Seo-jun, caught off guard, watches her intensely. Yeonju, in a desperate and sad tone, asks Seo-jun if he can save her son. Deep down, she knows her son is gone, but she pleads for Seo-jun to avenge him by killing all fucking goblins from the world. And with this, another goblin slayer is born. Yeonju sits on the bed, sobs racking her body. Seo-jun stands nearby, silently observing her crushing grief. The room is filled with the sounds of her uncontrollable crying, while Seo-jun contemplates the weight of her words and the tragedy she has endured. As Seo-jun was shut in, he was not good at interacting with others. He genuinely did not understand how to comfort this sad mother. While Yeonju was crying, the system suddenly notified Seo-jun that Yeonju's trust in him had greatly increased. Yeonju continued crying, telling Seo-jun how much she missed her son. Seeing her pain, Seo-jun couldn't figure out how to help. He understood that the goblins had eaten her child. Seo-jun wondered, was there anything he could do for her? Then an idea struck him. What if he gave Yeonju a quest with a reward that would revive her son? Even though he knew it was impossible, he decided to try. Seo-jun created a quest for Yeonju. Although he was skeptical, he wrote in the quest that if Yeonju killed 1,000 goblins with no time limit or penalty, her son would be revived. Rather than doing nothing, Seo-jun felt he had to try. Seo-jun prayed the quest would work. He knew there was no way to bring the dead back to life, but in this messed up world, anything seemed possible. However, as soon as Seo-jun applied the quest to Yeonju, the system shocked him. It notified Seo-jun that he lacked the funds to provide the reward of resurrection. The realization hit him hard. If Seo-jun could earn enough funds, he would be able to revive anyone. His whole body started shaking. This was game-changing. At that moment, Seo-jun realized the potential of his role. He was the system. He could become the god of this world. Still, Seo-jun knew he needed more money to make this a reality. The problem was, the system didn't specify how much money was required. Despite this uncertainty, Seo-jun refused to give up. Yeonju was still crying and Seo-jun called out to her. He told her there might be a way to revive her son. Hearing this, Yeonju was shocked. Yeonju felt like someone had shot her. She experienced surprise and sadness all at once. but she also thought Seo-jun might be joking. She warned him, "If this is a cruel joke, stop it. Otherwise, I will never forgive you." Seo-jun reassured her that there was indeed a way, but it would be very difficult. Hearing this, Yeonju became desperate. She told Seo-jun she was willing to do anything for him, even warm his bed or become his slave. Seo-jun stopped her and said there was no need for that. She only had to do one thing, which he would explain later. After that, the scene shifts, and Seo-jun introduces Yeonju to his teammate Dongjun. Dongjun greets her warmly with a firm handshake. Yeonju introduces herself as well, but she remains a little serious. She asks Dongjun a single question. Was he the one killing goblins with a baseball bat? And is Rin the same girl who used a bow to kill goblins? Hearing her descriptions so accurately, both Dongjun and Rin are shocked. They do not understand who this woman is or how she knows about them. Rin hesitantly asks Yeonju if they have ever met before. Yeonju, trying to lighten the mood, makes her hand resemble a bear's paw and acts cute, saying they must have met her before. She playfully asks if they really don't recognize her. Dongjun, Rin, and Toji all look confused, wondering what this woman is talking about. Yeonju smiles confidently and decides to activate her beast transformation. Gradually, fur starts to appear on her body. A deep, menacing aura emerges, and soon her entire body is covered in thick fur. As Yeonju completes her transformation, Rin immediately recognizes her and is about to scream. Yeonju, now almost 10 feet tall, stands as a terrifyingly deadly beast, ready to attack anyone in her path. Rin and the others finally realize that she is the same beast who had been blocking their way in the basement, killing goblins like crazy. Seeing their reactions, Yeonju laughs. This moment feels slightly amusing to her, and she puts her hand on her face, saying, "To be precise, I'm actually a bear, not a beast." She assures them she is not their enemy. In fact, she explains that she has been helping them by killing goblins in the basement many times, but they never noticed. Instead, they thought she was a beast who wanted to kill them as well. Finally, Toji and Dongjun realize that Yeonju is telling the truth. The beast never attacked them. It was killing the goblins who were about to end their lives. Dongjun approaches Yeonju with great joy and says the meeting in the basement was no coincidence. Yeonju nods and declares that her national enemy is the goblins. She vows to wipe out every goblin in this world. She adds that the enemies of goblins are her friends, thus marking the birth of another goblin slayer. As the conversation continues, Seo-jun arrives from behind. He expresses his happiness that everyone has been introduced. However, his expression turns serious as he announces something important. He tells them there is no time left. By tomorrow morning, they must begin their plan to save Byung-ho's grandmother. Now that the goblin numbers have drastically decreased, this is the perfect time to proceed. Seo-jun then informs the group that he will not be able to join the battle due to his fatal injury. Instead, Miss Yeonju will accompany Toji and Dongjun's group to kill the goblins. Hearing the term goblin hunter, Yeonju becomes very happy. Seo-jun gives his final command to everyone, instructing them to rest. He reminds them that they will start their mission as soon as they wake up the next morning. As the group disperses to their rooms, Seo-jun calls Toji and Byung-gu aside. The scene shifts, and Seo-jun leads them to a small room. He asks them, "Do you know why I brought you here?" Both look very confused. Seo-jun smirks and says, "Because you're virgins."